I wear a cape with an S on my chest. No, you know. So my name is Matambila Karima, but you can call me Tambi. And wow, my tech journey is very interesting because it wasn't very straight and narrow. I had to go up, down, sideways, around and everything. But my introduction into tech was through my father. He's an engineer, but he has a very strong liking or interest rather in technology. So when I was maybe 8 years old, I can't remember. That was my first introduction to computers. Very old computer. My dad used to program games for my sister and I, and then kind of graduated into installing operating systems. Now this is back then, and we had to install using floppy disks, if you know what that is. And you know, it was a case of like maybe like 100 floppy disks. But for me, there was just something intriguing about the whole process. And that's what kind of got me into it. Okay. And then in high school, we did have computer classes, which, you know, I was a little, I don't want to say advanced, but at least I had some knowledge coming from home already. So when I got to high school, trying to figure out my career plan, I wasn't sure then. And for some interesting reason, computers never crossed my mind. And so I kind of dabbled here and there. I thought I could do law. Okay. I was very sure I was going to do law. So finished high school and then was kind of like unsure. And I remember my mom had, you know, African mom. She's like, you can't just stay home and just take 1 year to think of what you want to do. And so that's how I found myself at Zekas doing accounts, something I did not like. Okay. Yeah. And you know, there's a lesson there really, you know, which I'll get into a bit later. I did that for like, I think 1.5 years about. Okay. And then took time off again, I think maybe 6 months or so, and then just started to like, you know, okay, what do I like doing? Because I realized, you know, you start going to university or college, this is going to be like the rest of your life. So I wanted to do something that I really liked. And when I took time to sit down and just have the conversation with myself, I realized, hey, computers, I like computers. And so went online, looked up courses, looked up places, and that's how I found myself in Australia. Okay. And I did a diploma in software development. Okay. Something I didn't really like because it was programming. I'm not very good at programming. You and me both. I like logic, but when the program doesn't work. I know, right? You wake up at like 3 in the morning, you have a headache with code. No. So then when I went to university, before I got to university, I decided to be very intentional. What do I want to study? So at the time, I remember the most popular course was, I think it was mobile applications. Okay. But then there was something there called computer security. And I was like, what's that? And so I looked into it, looked at the course structure, and I'm like, this is nice. There's not a lot of programming. It was there, but it wasn't something that was, you know, dominating the course itself. And so I took computer security as my major, Bachelor of IT, and I absolutely loved it. I actually excelled at it. So I'm, you know, at least for me, it was a case of, you know, going back to what I said about Zekas. I didn't like it. I was just doing it to basically tick a box. And so because I didn't like it, I didn't apply myself. But at university, when I chose something I wanted to do, I did apply myself and I enjoyed what I was doing. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much my journey into tech, and then started off in a call center. Okay. Very interesting. Call center in Australia. Okay. Another lesson there, very important. I have to say, it taught me to be patient. When you know, when in a call center, it's stress. It's a lot of stress. You have people calling you, people can be abusive on the phone, but you have to be professional. So that kind of also prepared me for where I am today, in terms of just applying emotional intelligence. You know, you don't always have to win an argument type of thing. And yeah, so from there, I then moved back to Zambia, worked for finance bank at the time, IT help desk support, and then got into Atlas Mara. There I was team lead for IT, security, risk, and management. Then got into EcoBank, where I became the country head of information security, the first, I should say, for Zambia. That was exciting.
Nice.
And now here I am with UBA as the regional chief information security officer. So it's been quite an interesting journey throughout, but one that honestly I'm blessed to say I'm doing exactly what I wanted to do. I wear a cape with an S on my chest. No, essentially it's, if I can just break it down really, protecting physical and digital information assets. So let me put it in a different context. Look at your mobile phones, for example. You have a PIN. Why do you have a PIN? You're protecting the data that's in there, whether it's your messages, it's your photos, your emails, right? And so on a wider scale, that's part of my job, is coming up with strategies to protect information assets for the organization. And that also involves risk assessment, data protection, and also something that I'm very passionate about is awareness and training. Just getting people now to change the mindset, because, cybersecurity or information security is everyone's job at the end of the day.
Yes.
I'm hired for it, but everyone plays a part. And so just growing that kind of mindset and culture is a big part of my job.
Could you share with us just two major challenges that you faced in your career?
In my career, okay. I think by now we all know that the tech industry is very male dominated. It is extremely male dominated. So sometimes it's very difficult to try and move up, but also it's difficult when there's no representation.
Okay.
For example, if you want to be, let's say, a programmer, it's easy to relate. If there's a woman, you can reach out. That's a mentor, that's a support system. I didn't have that. The people who were doing the jobs that I thought I wanted to do or admired were men. And, to this day, they're still my mentors, they're still my great friends. But I always felt like if there was a woman, it would be easier to, get that support and just understand. So the fact that I didn't have any mentors as women, that was a very big challenge. The second one that probably comes into place is just, I think especially being in Zambia, the space is very limited with your careers in tech or in cybersecurity. So, for example, look at what's happening in the world. Artificial intelligence is becoming a big thing. And so if you want to get into that, where do you go? But even in terms of even just studying some of these things, we don't have the resources here. And that's why I had to get on a plane and go and get that elsewhere. So I'd have wanted to have learned that here, to be honest, but that's why also reason why I moved back. I didn't stay there. I moved back just to come back and try and make it in my country. So it would be those two things.
Okay. Could you share with us some highlights of your career?
With pleasure. I think the biggest one for me was moving from IT support to the team lead role.
Okay.
It was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Like I said, it's a male-dominated field, and there were times I felt frustrated. I felt like giving up. But, even when I felt like that, I still maintained my level of excellence with work. I still believed at some point I won't be in this little bubble forever. I'm going to grow. And, when it came to pass, because I proved myself, that for me was so big. I think I cried that day. I was so excited because I'm like, okay, we're going somewhere. We're going somewhere, right? The second one would probably be, so last year, there's a company it's called BII World from the UAE.
Okay.
They identified me as one of the influential fintech leaders in SADC.
Nice.
And I was invited as a guest speaker in Johannesburg to go and speak on cybersecurity trends in the region. That was really, really big for me because, funny story, I don't like public speaking.
For someone who's passionate about awareness,
I know.
Speak in public.
I know. I get nervous. I get panic attacks, and no. So initially, when they said that to me, I had imposter syndrome because I thought, no, this is no. I can't. Why me and whatnot? And I thought, this is my biggest weakness. and in my job I get to present, whether it's to the board, whether it's to, I still get very nervous. But I thought this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, but also a learning situation for me. And so I took it on, and I will tell you, I was sick. I couldn't eat breakfast. I was sweating. I was so nervous, but I got up there, and I remember thinking to myself at the time, I was the only female speaking on a cybersecurity topic.
Oh, okay.
And I said, okay, this is it. This is it. This is for all the girls, all the women. I can't fail. Let me just get this out of the way. And I prepared, and it went very well. Of course, I was nervous while speaking, but it went very well. And even the feedback I got from various people was they liked what I said. And I remember there was a lady, a South African lady, very old lady, who came up to me and gave me a hug. And she said to me, "You don't know what it means to see a young black woman on that stage speaking." Yeah, speaking with such confidence, and your stuff. And I said, okay, I've done the right thing. I made the right decision. But also, it was a big thank you to the organization for giving me that opportunity. That has been the biggest highlight of my career so far.
Okay, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That's definitely big.
Thank you.
So I'm going to go off script.
Okay.
Yes. So you've mentioned, I think, two things. One is, especially for females in this industry, I personally have felt this imposter syndrome, where you feel like, am I really supposed to be here?
Yeah.
Like, do I deserve to be here?
Yeah.
Even if you have a track record, and definitely if you do take your time, you can see to say, okay, I've put in the work and I deserve to be here.
Yeah.
For some reason, imposter syndrome always kicks in. So there's imposter syndrome, and also the nerves.
Yeah.
Like, every time you're called out to do something, or sometimes even when you're appreciated, you feel like, is it really me they're appreciating? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how have you handled that? Like, what are some of the tips that you could give a lady out there who's experiencing imposter syndrome or nerves and feeling like they're not good enough, even though they're putting in effort and work
in there?
Yes. What advice or tips could you give to such a lady out there?
Okay. One thing that's really helped me is every little achievement I do. So you know how we have, let's say, KPIs, for example. I take note of every little thing that I do.
Okay.
So I've actually got like a sticky thingy on my the sticky notes app on the desktop. And when I achieve something, I take note of it. And so sometimes even before, let's say, a presentation, when I get that, the nerves, I'll go back and say, wait, this is what I've achieved. I know I know the stuff.
Yeah.
Why am I scared? So that's one thing I do to remind myself all the time. Even to this day, I still do that all the time. Whether it's awareness, okay, what did I do? What did we talk about? Okay, but then also what I do as well is when it comes to presentations or just giving a talk, well, I do ask for feedback.
Okay.
I ask for feedback because we can only improve if we're continuously learning. And so I ask for constructive feedback. So for example, if I gave a presentation on, let's say, the information security posture of the organization, I'll pick somebody and say, where do you think I did well? What can I work on? And so forth and so forth. But also what I like to do is I do read quite a bit as well. I'm actually reading Atomic Habits.
Okay.
I think it's James Clear, that's his name. It's a very good book. So I'm just trying to get also in the habit of, affirmations, positive affirmations every day. Yeah. But also, I think this is easier said than done. You have to remind yourself, I am here because I deserve to be here. I have the skills. I have the talent. I know the stuff. I know it's easier said than done, right?
Somehow everything seems to
I know.
keep the mind when you need to apply the things.
Exactly, right? But you have to remember those things, and you have to believe in yourself. There's a saying, it says, humble with the hint of Kanye. The belief he's had from the very beginning. That's what we need to do, because then if I don't have that confidence and I come out here and I'm talking to somebody, I'm presenting, they will see through me and say, This girl's a
Not
bit
much.
shaky. Don't believe her. Not much, exactly. So, affirmations. You deserve to be there. List down your accomplishments every day, whether it's every week, every month, everything you've accomplished, to remind yourself, hey, I know this stuff. And it's easy to fall into that. What if they ask me something I don't know, right? Exactly. What if they ask me? I have no answer. What do I say? But you have to remove that completely. So affirmations, humble with the hint of Kanye, believe in yourself.
All right, nice. Yeah. Very nice.
I think it starts with, let's start like with the girls in primary, for example. Okay. Let's show them that in technology, you can be a programmer, you can be in compliance, you can specialize in risk assessment, that there are different avenues. So what I would like to see being done now is, let's go out to the schools. Let's have these talks with the girls. But also it would be nice if we could nurture the girls from an early age. Are you in tech? Okay. In these tech programs, I know I've seen a lot of these Python programming schools for kids now. Okay. So if we can get them into that. And then now when we get into the workplace, I think organizations need to be very deliberate. The women who are in tech, who are in leadership roles, let's put them as mentors and support systems. So when you come in, at least I can reach out to this lady. She can guide me. She's been there. But also even us women, we need to be at the top. We need to be open. Let's not sit and, I don't want anyone coming here. No, we need to be open. Let's reach out to the women and the girls and let them know. Because again, my story is not your story, but it can help somebody as well. And I think the most important thing also is we can't remove men from this equation. We need men as allies. There are some rooms women can't get into. And then if we have allies who are men and they know Tambi is able to do this job, she's got the skills, the experience, they can take that there. And then they become our allies and then we can work together. So I think those three things would definitely help.
Thank you so much.
Okay, what do we have here? What is your most important leadership skill? This is a good one. I believe my most important leadership skill is my ability to break down complex terms in InfoSec or cybersecurity so that people can understand. Soft skills are very, very important, and I think they're also overlooked a lot of the times because my audience isn't just board members, it isn't just employees. Sometimes it can be external customers who need to understand something. And so it's very crucial to speak to people in a way that they understand and they can appreciate what we are trying to do. Next question. Okay. If you would be given a chance to spend a day with the tech, who would it be and why? Wow. On the spot, eh? Honestly, I would pick Steve Jobs.
Okay.
Yes, I would pick Steve Jobs. I think the vision that he had for Apple was, number one, you could see the passion. And that's something that's very important in your career is, do you have the passion? To be honest, sometimes you might not have the skills, but if recruiters can see your passion, that will get you the job. And so I loved his passion for what he did, but also, he was trying to create, to make our lives easier. I remember watching something where he said, we need to create technology or gadgets for people that they don't even know they need them yet. Which I thought was very interesting, But also, there's something that he said, which is one of my everyday go-to quotes. He said, stay hungry, stay foolish. And what that means to me is always stay hungry for knowledge. So continue learning. You continue to learn, you will then take on challenges. And so just the way his mind worked, that's somebody definitely I would want to spend a day with. Okay, let's go for another one. How do you deal with difficult situations or people in your work environment? You know what?
So you block them?
I mean, damn.
Block them.
No, going back to what I talked about in the call center, I talked about how, you have customers who are calling you, they're being rude, they're being abusive, but there's procedure. So for example, if someone is being rude, you can't just cut the line. You need to warn them. There are different procedures to go through, right? And so if someone's being very difficult with me, normally what I would do is, if it's something I can't handle one-to-one, I will involve a third party, maybe my line supervisor or HR. But one thing I have learned to do is to calm down. You still have to be professional. Sometimes people provoke you. It happens. Sometimes people are threatened by you. And then that comes out in how they treat you. So one thing I've learned to do is literally take a walk. I'm not joking. Like, I will take a walk, calm down, and then, okay, it's an email. Okay, maybe first let me talk to you. Maybe you don't misunderstand. Because emails can also be a bit spicy.
Yeah, it might not be what somebody intended.
Exactly, and then you're seeing red,
you
and
read
then
the different tones.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've learned to just calm down. Emotional intelligence comes into play. Just calm down, and then try and address it the best way, possible, professionally as well. But like I said, if it's something that's hot, then I'll involve HR or my supervisor. But by all means, I definitely try not to take anything personal, because then that will just ruin my day and then ruin everything else. And so that's what I do.
Do you have any last words for the women out there? Take and non-taking.
And then take thank you so much for having me. I'm very humbled to be on your show. For women, again, believe in yourself. Humble with the hint of Kanye. Please remember that. Humble with the hint of Kanye. Believe in yourself. Be your biggest cheerleader. When it comes to mentors, reach out to people. I always say this: the worst someone can say is no. Life will go on. Move on to the next one. But what I found in tech is people rarely say no. People are willing to bring people on board. And just go through the experiences and share and just support and encourage where they can. And so for women, again, once you get to those leadership roles, please pay it forward and, pay someone else the same courtesy and be a mentor and support to them.